Three love interests? Yep. Yep, that's my favorite trope right there. Hi. Okay. Let me start over. Hi. Sorry, my face is so red. I'm still sick. I just got done hacking and coughing and blowing my nose so that I could start this video. So please forgive my appearance, please forgive my voice, and welcome to a new video, okay? Welcome to a new reading vlog. This one I'm so excited about because I'm taking you with me. This is a spoilers vlog, okay? If you read this title and you don't want to know nothing about these books, maybe don't watch this video. Maybe go read the books and then come back and then we can discuss, okay? If you don't care to be spoiled or you've read these books and you love them and you want to hear my thoughts about them, girl, we're in for a ride. We're in for a good treat because I'm so excited. Today, I'm going to finally start reading the Shadow and Bone series by Leigh Bardugo. Okay, I read Six of Crows, I read This Crooked Kingdom, I've read Ninth House and Hellbent. She is one of my favorite authors. I mean, I say that with my full chest, like top 3 favorite authors right now, Leigh Bardugo, because Six of Crows and This Crooked Kingdom absolutely like remolded my brain. Okay, it rewired my whole life. And I don't remember Ninth House super well, but I know I loved Hellbent and I want to reread those books before the third one comes out for sure. But that leaves me with this series that I have never picked up. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how it starts. I don't know anything. I know that it was on Netflix and it's like the most popular bring this back show kind of thing. Like anytime you go on like an Instagram post from Netflix, the comments are all bring back Shadow and Bone, bring back Shadow and Bone. And I'm ready to be on that train, okay? I'm ready to hop on that bandwagon. So literally just come along with me. I'm going to start the first one right now, Shadow and Bone. Oh, why did you go to chapter 1? No, we're going back. Oh my God. Okay, I lied to you guys. Because apparently I had picked this one up before and I read the little, what's it called? The prologue. I read the little prologue and then I was like, you know what, maybe this would be better if I read it on film, you know, like I filmed myself and my real reactions. So I'm just gonna pick up my camera anytime something crazy happens and I want to talk about it, because I remember reading Six of Crows and just wanting to just tell everyone around me everything that was happening in that book. And I'm gonna do the same but with Shadow and Bone and to you guys, okay? So come along with me. I'm gonna read these 3 books hopefully in like 3 days. Knowing me, whatever I set out to do is not exactly how it ends up going, and that's okay. So we're just gonna play it by ear, read these books, and I'm so excited. Okay, I'm gonna shut up and start reading. Okay, it is 85 degrees and the UV index is like finally above 8. So like it's tanning season. Okay, so I'm gonna lay out and read. Let me give like a little update. So I am 15% of the way through the book. I'm on chapter 4. Okay, so I feel like not a lot's happening and I'm actually really surprised with how short this book is. And I know it's a 3-book series, so like maybe she kind of wrote it all and then they like decided to make it a trilogy, which is like fine. But I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of going a little like too slow for what I know that like, I don't know, like the book is only like 340 pages long, so I'm shocked that like nothing else has happened yet. Basically, so we have these 2 kids named Alina and Mel, and Alina's a girl, Mel is a boy, and they were like orphans together, and then they were kind of both like sold off to like go fight in the war, like they're soldiers now. And basically literally like nothing's happened. Like literally all that's happened is that Alina has found out that she is a Grisha, which I remember Grishas from the Six of Crows series. One of the girls, I think Nina was her name, was a Grisha, and Grishas are like these all-powerful beings. Like they're very beautiful, they're very talented, and they're just like, I don't know, like they're just like the best of the best. And so a lot of people want to kill the Grisha because it's like, why would we let these people here? They have all this power, they could totally like take over the world if they really wanted to. But the Grisha kind of just like want to stay by themselves. They're kind of like Roma in a way, like they're like all about music and like beauty, and I don't know, they just like would rather be like left alone and just like live by themselves. Like they're not gonna bother anybody, but because they keep getting bothered, they have to like keep defending themselves, you know what I mean? So I don't know, literally that's all that's happened, is that she just found out she's a Grisha, and apparently she's like a sun summoner Grisha, which I don't know what that means yet, but that's like one of a kind. And that's literally it. She's being separated from Mel, who's like her best friend, and Mel is like a really attractive boy and like all the girls like him, but it's clear that Alina likes him too, so that's cute. But yeah, like I don't have much to update other than that, so I don't know, I'll catch you in a minute, update you with something if something cool happens, I guess. But I'm just going to enjoy the sunshine for now and tan a little bit, and yeah, let's go. Show's over, folks. Time to go inside. Hi, I just wanted to pop in and give a little update on Shadow and Bone. So basically, she is a Grisha and she has been taken by the Darkling. And basically, okay, let me explain what that even means. So I don't know like what he is exactly, but he's a Grisha, okay? He's like one of the top Grisha, like one of the most powerful Grisha, and he has basically taken her because she's like powerful, obviously, and taken her to like where all the Grisha live, and the Grisha just live in like this great palace. It's called the Little Palace, but it's just like this grandiose, basically like training academy for Grisha, because Grisha are like the most powerful, so they train there, they learn there, they go to school there, and then they go fight in different armies for you know, just keep peace in the land and everything. And so she has been brought there, and the Darkling has basically said that like she is so powerful that she could don the dark cloak, like the black cloak, and that's how like the Grisha are like categorized. It's by the color of their cloaks. So like there's blue ones, there's red ones, there's some that are just like servants, there's some that are like healers, there's some that like make material, there's some that are like academics, and they all wear different cloaks. And the black cloak is like, you know, like the most powerful, but she said that she doesn't want the black cloak, she wants to have a blue cloak because she doesn't want to stand out that much anymore, because she's like, I don't even know what's going on, you know, I was literally an orphan my whole life, I've been a map maker, sold into like soldiery, I don't know, and now suddenly I'm like this powerful being, and it's just like weird, and I don't know, so, you know, like give me the blue cloak. And so they're like, okay, like whatever, girl. So she's just like in this academy, just like learning, and that's basically where we're at. Like I'm literally 36% of the way through, and I feel like not much has happened because we're still like getting just the beginning gist of the story, which is her figuring out her power. She like meets with different people who like train her, and she's just like learning how to be a Grisha, right? Okay. And I'm really liking it. I really am. And I'm also liking that we are getting a little something with the Darkling, because that means that there's like two love interests. It's gonna be like a love triangle, because she's still in love with her best childhood friend Mel, but now like the Darkling is like, you know, showing a little interest in her because she's low-key just as powerful as him if he wanted her to don the black cloak, right? So maybe he's like the only one who wears the black cloak as far as I understand, so maybe he's like lonely because he's never, you know, he's just been like the leader this whole time, and he's never had the opportunity to like get with like someone else, because they're really all about like status in the Grisha verse, okay? And let me think, what has even happened? I'm just really enjoying it because I love stories when like they go to school and they learn and they get strong. That's like a great plot point to me. I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited for when Mel comes back in and there's gonna be like tension there. I'm excited to see what happens with the Darkling, and it's kind of weird that that's his name. It's just the Darkling. Like, what's his real name? We don't know. let me think, anything else to update? I don't know if this is like super important, but like there's the king and the queen, so like they, like the king and the queen of the palace, but then there's like the Grisha who like live in the palace in just like different dormitories and different quarters and everything, and they like learn and go to school, like I said. So they're like all fighting for the king, and I believe that this is the first army. No, I think it's the second army. I think that she was originally fighting with the first army, but now there's the second army, and I don't know what that means. I don't know how to explain the world to you guys, but it's just like, you know, you take it as you read it. Okay, she was working for the first army, now I believe that she's going to be working for the second army, or they're like training for the second army. Yeah, it's really good. Like, I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm going to eat this pot pie and read some more, and I will update you once I have something else to say. I feel like I just want to explain this really fast before I get more into the book, because they just like re-explained it to me. So for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, so basically the Darkling believes that she is the sun summoner, because when they were fighting, she basically, like, a bunch of stuff happened. These things called the Vecro came in, and they have like wings and they're like baddies and everything, and they came in, and then she was hurt, and then suddenly like a burst of light came out of her, and it like, you know, push them all away, right? Okay. And so he says to her, he's like, you're the first glimmer of hope I've had in a long time. He believes that she's the sun summoner, and he believes that she can help him destroy the Fold. So I guess the Fold are like the bad guys, and so that's why she's at this like the little palace to like train, and she's just like doing that every day, because she's like, well, I'm not a map maker, I'm an orphan, like if I'm not the sun summoner, then like what the heck am I, right? Okay, I just wanted to like insert that because I didn't feel like I understood that enough to explain it yet. So yeah, okay, so she's there to destroy the Fold because they believe she's the sun summoner. Okay, thanks. Okay, I have to give an update because I am 60% of the way through and shit is happening. Okay, so basically, she is like totally in possession of her Grisha power. Like, she is able to be, is this weird that I'm laying down while talking to you? Let me sit up. Okay, so she is in like complete control of her Grisha power. Okay, like she has unlocked her potential. She like looks beautiful. She is healthy. She's like thriving. She has energy. She fights well. Like all of the stuff that was missing before because she like wasn't able to harness her powers is back. Okay, or I mean it's now here. It never was there before, but okay. So she the Darkling kisses her, and it's very like I was having weird vibes about it because it was not like exciting to read. Like the author didn't like make it this exciting moment, and I was like, oh, like, is the Darkling a bad guy? The Darkling is a bad guy. Okay. There's like this big like ball, and he like shows her off, and she like shows her magical power. She has like the light and he has the darkness. Okay, and they like do this little like weavy like demonstration, and everyone's like so happy because it's been told by him that once the sun summoner is here, that they will be able to take over the Fold. They'll be able to, you know, like eradicate the baddies and everything because she like has the power and everything. He like keeps coming on to her. He like, you know, pushes her into an empty room and kisses her and everything, and it's all like steamy, but then he's like got to go. He's like, yeah, you know, you're just like not powerful enough yet, but we found this stag, and the power of the stag, the bone of the stag, is going to like make you more powerful. I don't like really know how to explain that part yet, but it's just been something that they've been searching for. And so he's like, you know, I have to go, but I'll see you tonight. Like if you leave your door unlocked tonight, you know, I'll come visit you tonight and everything. So she's like getting ready to leave. Like she has like more fun at the ball, and she gets ready to leave, and then Mal is there. Okay, the boy from her past, the orphan boy who's like her BFF, and he is like not happy to see her. He's like very angry that she is like giving in to all of this basically, and she's like, what did you expect? Like this is who I am, and you're being like really rude, and also I haven't heard from you in forever, and this is like how you treat me, like I'm your best friend and everything. Like I'm so excited to see you, and why are you acting this way? Because he's like, he still works for the soldiers in the army, and he is part of the people that brought the stag in, and that the Darkling went to go, you know, like go see about the stag, right? And so Mal is like, you know, are you happy? Are you actually happy? Like he's all over you. Look, you're wearing his clothes, because she changed to like the black cloak and everything, and he's got like this like symbol, and she's like wearing the symbol and everything, and he's just like, you know, like you're just, he's all over you, you know, like you really are his I don't remember exactly like what he accuses her of, but he's just like very upset that she's like no longer who she was when they were friends and everything. And she's like, well, look at you, like, aren't you also working for him? Like, aren't you also under his command? And he's like, yep, I am, so I'm gonna go. So he like leaves to go like be back with his like soldier buddies and everything. She goes back to her room crying, and this woman who has been helping her with her magic, she's like this old woman who lives like in a cottage down past the little palace, and her name is Begra. She comes to her door and she's like, come with me, and she like takes her to like this secret like panel door, and there's like this secret hallway, and they like go to this secret room, and she has like these clothes and everything, and she's like, you need to get changed and you need to leave now. And Alina is like, what are you talking about, what's going on? And she's like, if you don't want to be his slave, you need to leave now. We come to find out that the Darkling is the Black Heretic, and the Black Heretic is the one who created the Fold, right? They're the ones who have the evil creatures that like hurt her in the beginning of the book, that made her like show her powers and everything. And she's like, how do you know this? Like, why do you think that he's the Black Heretic and everything? Turns out Begra is his mother. She like knows this. He has been alive for like centuries, and he just like dies and comes back as like a new different person and everything, so that people like don't catch on to it. But he, this whole time, you know, he's been saying things like, I have been waiting my whole life to find you and all this, because once he has her power as like combined with his power, he can take over the, what were they called? Okay, so they were called Volcra. So the Volcra, they're just like these creatures with like wings, and they're just like part of the Fold's army, right? And this is like his cross that he had to bear, because when he created the Fold, and like the Fold, I'm imagining it's just like this other army, like it's just the bad guys, right? And so when he created the Fold, he like made these men become the Volca, and he can't defeat them. But with her power as the Sun Summoner, they can like work together with his Darkling magic to eradicate the Volca, so that he can then have control of the Fold. And then what he plans to do is expand the Fold, so that the Fold just takes over everything, and he is like the king. And because she will be like under his command, she's gonna basically like be his slave and like have to do everything that he wants her to do. She'll just have like no say in like his overtaking of the world, basically. So that's just like a really brief explanation. I don't know, but it's crazy because Mal came back, we found out that the Darkling's a bad guy, and her friend had warned her. She was like, just be careful with him, you know? And she's like, why? Like, what's wrong with him? And she's like, just be careful of powerful men. And the friend like has a reason to say this, because the king like uses her. So it's just like, we were getting bad vibes about the Darkling. I love the Darkling, and I wanted him to be good. I wanted there to be like a struggle between like him and Mal, but like I'm sure she's gonna end up with Mal now and all this stuff. But I'm excited. I'm excited to keep reading. I'm 60% on the way through. It's like flying by. It is such a fast read. I'm not loving it as much as I love Six of Crows and This Crooked Kingdom, okay? I didn't want to say that yet, but I feel like since I'm this far into it, I am not loving it as much. I definitely thought that this would be like so much more, I don't know, engaging, entertaining, because it got like the Netflix show and everything, and like everyone talks about it. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna pick up. I'm sure there's gonna be like a crazy cliffhanger, and I'm gonna want to go right into the second one, but just I'm still chasing that high that I got from reading Six of Crows and This Crooked Kingdom, because that was my shit. Basically, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, the Darkling is a bad guy. Who would have thought? She has her powers back. Bagra is his mom, who was the one that was training her on her powers. That's like a little weird. I don't know if I exactly trust her yet. Mal came back, but he's like a little bitch boy because he's upset that she's all powerful and everything. I don't know. I'm feeling a little negative right now. But I'm liking the direction that we're going, and I like that we are progressing a lot. So I don't know, maybe I'll have more to say. Maybe I'll just sit and finish the rest of this 40% and then update you then, but see you then. Hey, it's me here just to clarify again in case I wasn't making sense earlier. So the Darkling, wants to expand the Fold, and he wants to use her powers to keep the Volcra at bay. And then the thing with the stag is it's like an amplifier. Grishas can like have power amplifiers that make them like more strong. And so if he gets a hold of the stag, which is like the bone collar, And I'm sorry, this is like making no sense. Basically, if they find this magic stag, that's an amplifier for the Grisha, and he will be able to just like take over and have her power. Basically, like she'll be a slave to him because he will have put the collar on her, right? Okay, I just wanted to say that in case that wasn't clear. Okay. Hi, good morning. Okay, it is the next day. And I went to bed with one chapter left in Shadow and Bone. I'm still sick, please excuse me. Because I didn't want to finish it and then come on here and talk about it after a night's sleep. I don't know, I just like didn't trust myself enough. It was also like 2 a.m. So yeah, I don't know. Where we are up to, let me see if I can even remember. So where I left off last time I updated you guys, she had run away because Bagro was like, the Darkling is a bad guy, he's going to use your power, he's going to take over your power, and he's going to use it to like enslave you, but also take over the world, right? Like with your power, with this, the power of the stag, he's going to be able to control the whole fold, which are like the bad guys. Okay. And so she's like running away and she meets up with Mal. Okay, Mal has been tracking her, and Mal is like the best tracker, right? So you know, the Darkling had told his men that she had been missing, that Alina was missing, and that they needed to go find her. He doesn't alert all of the Grisha, so the Grisha are like not aware of this. But when Mal heard this, he was like, oh my gosh, like she's gonna try to find the stag herself. She's going to like, you know, make sure that he doesn't have his control over her. So I'm gonna go find her. And honestly, I don't even remember if Mal knows that, or if when they meet up, Alina tells him that. Like, I think he's just like, oh my god, Alina's missing, I'm gonna go find her because I'm the best and I can find her first. And he does. So she like tells him the whole plan and everything. They're just traveling, okay? They're like trying to get away and trying to find the stag. And you know, stuff happens. Like their relationship like deepens a little bit, I guess. They kiss, don't they? Dang, see, I wish I hadn't have stayed up till 2 a.m. I think that they kissed while they're out there. Yeah, they definitely do. And they like made up and everything because they had been fighting before when he came to the castle, and he was like, oh, you're the Darkling's little slave, you know, like you're just doing everything for him. And she's like, well, aren't you too? Because you literally work for him. I'm just like, I just happen to have this power that he wants, you know, I happen to have this power that he's been looking for and all this stuff. I can't really help it. You're over here like willingly working for him as a soldier of his. Anyway, so they make up. We fast forward, they find the stag, okay? And she tells Mal, she's like, if the Darkling finds the stag first, and he is going to make the collar out of the antlers, which is the power, then you better kill me. Like I need you to kill me and all this stuff, because I'm not going to become a pawn in this. And he's just like, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. They find the stag, and the Darkling and his men were like just following them. They were like, oh, they're gonna find the stag for us, because Mal is like the best tracker, right? Like he's gonna be the one to find the stag out of anyone. So they find the stag, and then the Darkling is immediately like, you know, like kills the stag like right in front of them, and they turn around and they're like, oh my god, you know, he's here and everything. And she's like, Mal, kill me, and he can't do it. Mal can't bring himself to do it. They take the antlers off the stag and they fasten it into a collar. Like they put both of the antlers on her shoulders, and then one of the Grisha, his name is David, he is able to like magically create the collar, right? And so now the Darkling has control of her light power, okay? And it's said that like he's showing how far he can like light, like how far her power is, like how good her power is. Like he's like showing off to see how it is, and she tries, like in her own mind and in her own self, she tries to stop it, but it's just like flicked away. Like he's so much more powerful than her. They go back to the castle, and it's like, oh my gosh, like the way that she begs for Mal's life gives me life. I literally was crying. I was so like into it. It made me so emotional, because she knows that like Mal is like, first of all, the Darkling's jealous because he's in love with Lena and she's in love with Mal, and he's like, how could you stoop so low? Like he's just a lowly orphan servant soldier man, you know, like he's a boy and I'm the Darkling, like I'm literally so powerful, and it will be so much better if you just like come onto my side and everything. So she's begging for Mal's life, and he's so evil, you guys. He's so evil. I love the Darkling so much, I can't lie. He just like, you know, caresses her face. She says how if he kills Mal, that she's gonna fight him every day of her life. Like, she's gonna make his life hell. Like, sure, he'll have this control over her, but if he kills Mal, it's just gonna be so much more irritating for him. But it says, if you show him mercy, let him live, and I will serve you gladly. I will spend the rest of my days proving my gratitude. And then he's just kind of like, oh, mercy, I guess I could show mercy. And then he tells Ivan, who's like his right-hand man, to take her to the cells to go see Mal. And he's like, yes, Alina, I can be merciful. And he's like all up on her, like talking on her face and everything. And he's like, tomorrow we enter the shadow fold, and when we do, I will feed your friend to the Volcra, and you will watch him die. Ugh. So she goes to the cells, and she spends the night like between the bars of him, so like their faces are like pressed up against the bars. They have their final kiss, and they fall asleep like holding hands through the cells and everything. So at the end of the second to last chapter, Ivan comes back in the morning to take her away, and tomorrow, like in the morning, they're going to the fold, and they're going to eradicate the Valkon, or like have more control over them, which are like the baddies, right? Like these big winged creatures that have like, I don't know, they're just like really powerful. They're just a more like powerful fantastical element, right? So I mean, I'm loving it. I can't believe that this is the last chapter. Like, I feel like I'm just like, nothing has happened yet. Like, a little bit has happened. Like, I definitely have enjoyed the story so much. I'm really hoping that it's got that Leigh Bardugo cliffhanger amazing ending that just like makes you want to consume the second book immediately. So I'm gonna read the final chapter, and then I think there's like an after, like an epilogue, so I'll read that too. And oh my god, let's go. Okay, that was so uneventful. I still have the after, the little epilogue. It's probably just a couple of pages. So we're at the fold. The Darkling is, he brings Mal out. No. What happens first is he shows her power. He shows her power and how they have control over the, what are they? I cannot remember what their names are. Volcra, the Volcra. Okay, they're the ones with the claws and the wings. Okay, the Volcra. So the Darkling shows that he has control over the Volcra now. How he just like basically shows that he's the Dark Heretic. He's the one who created the fold and everything centuries ago, like, and he shows this in front of all the kings and all of the other like you know, like kings of the different parts of the land and everything. He like uses her to like show that she has the light, and she like expands it. I don't know, they have control over the Volcra. And so he exposes that he's the Black Heretic, and the other kings and everything, they're like, oh my gosh, like what the heck, this is crazy. And he's like, oh yeah, well, you know, this is the way of peace now. I'm in control of them, and there's no more fighting. We will no longer be fighting you, you will no longer be fighting us. And it's just like, now we can finally have peace. And they're like, oh yeah, but peace under your terms, right? And he's like, well, yeah, you know, like I'm God basically, and I have this power now. So Mal comes out, and she is supposed to like shine the light to Mal so that the Volcra will like go to him and, you know, like kill him and everything. And she's like fighting it with everything in her. And then she suddenly is able to overcome the Darkling's power over her, like his control over her light from the collar, because when they killed the stag, they first shot the stag. I think Mal shot the stag first, but then they had to like slit its throat to kill it, and she wouldn't do it. She was like, no, like let's keep it alive, like we don't need to do this, like let's leave it alone and everything. Like she had mercy for it. She was like, let's show it mercy, you know. And then that's when the Darkling showed up, and he shot the stag again, and then he had Ivan, his right hand man, slit the throat, and then they took the antlers and created the collar, right? So because she wanted to show the stag mercy, she had been dreaming of the stag and like its lifeless eyes every night since then, and it had been like haunting her. But it turns out that it's like not explained. Like, I swear to God, this book is like not giving. Because she'd shown the stag mercy, the magic of the collar from the stag, from his antlers, gave her power back to her. Like suddenly she was just like able to control her light, and the Darkling tried to like, you know, swerve his magic in, and she just brushed it away like how he did to her earlier. And girl, I don't even know. I think that she just took all the light away, and she runs to Mal and she takes Mal, and they just like run away, and it's just like craziness down below, by the way, because when the Darkling had used her power to like show what he was capable of, he had killed like a bunch of his own people. Like he had killed, like they're kind of like, this is the way I imagine, even though it's like not written like this because it's just not even explained. I just imagine they're like on this hill, like with all the royalty and everything, and he's showing down in the hill where all the peasants and where all the regular people live. Like he just like eradicated them. Like he's like, this is what I'm capable of because I have control of the fold now, and I control the fulcra and everything. So it's just like chaos, because she also then like took away the light, I guess, or she did something. I wish this book was better explained, because I can't explain it to you. That's how I know I'm barely understanding it. So they get away, her and Mal get away, and he like finds them clothes, he like finds them food and stuff, and he comes back to her and he's like, we gotta find a way to get rid of your collar, you know, like when we're gonna find a way to get rid of it, obviously. And she's like, no, like we're not getting rid of this, you know. And she says it's Ravka, which is like the whole, like the world, like the country is called Ravka. It's Ravka's only chance to be free of the shadow fold. So I guess like you can't control the shadow fold without the collar. So if no one is using the collar, like if she has it but she's not using it, then like no one can control the shadow fold or like make them do something bad, right? But then I wonder, like, does the shadow fold just kind of like keep going? Like, does the Volcra just like, is the world like back to normal where like the shadow fold and the Volcra can come in at any time and you have to like defend yourself against them? Or are they kind of like put on pause because she's not using the power? So anyway, so she says we can't get rid of it because it's the only chance we have to like make life better for everyone. And Mal kind of like looks at her and he's like, Alina, you know, like he just like didn't like the way that she was defending the collar. And then it says, I tried for a reassuring smile. We'll get rid of it, I promised, as soon as we can. And then he's like, all right, but like his expression is still very wary. So that's where the book ends. That's where the book ends. And I haven't read the after yet, but that's where the book ends. And so it's kind of like she's probably going to have this power go to her head, you know, kind of situation. Like she's going to have to deal with the fact that she is now the most powerful person, and maybe Mal still can't handle that, because when she was under the dark, like when she was with the Darkling as like his, you know, queen, basically his sun summoner, he couldn't really stand that, and he didn't know how bad the Darkling was. He just couldn't stand that she had all this power and was under his command in a way. I think that Mal has jealousy issues, and I think that he can't really handle a strong woman like that, like a very powerful girly. So I don't know, because it would be different if he was like, oh yeah, it's great that you have this power and you can control this power and you can use it for good because I trust you, Alina. But maybe he's also seen how like power can go to someone's head and how power can corrupt a person. I like that we are getting this balance and imbalance of power. It's very the Poppy War series. The Poppy War series is all about that, because you have like, she is one of the most powerful people with like the most powerful magical abilities, okay, and she has to constantly be stuck with, should I use my power, should I not use my power? And when she does use her power, she's like she just regrets it. She regrets the destruction that she caused, right? But this isn't about the Poppy War series, okay? This is about Shadow and Bone. So that's how it ends. Yeah, so I'm gonna read the after. It's probably not very long. Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh, okay. So it ends kind of how the story began, with them only being together. Like they're orphans again. They're by themselves again. Alina and Mal, of course, gives a little bit of insight because she had left, when she left the Grisha world, there were like people screaming, people dying, like there was lots of destruction, so she's like feeling very guilty about that, but like she would have died if she had stayed. They talk about how the apparent he took over for the king, and I didn't talk about him during the this like video because I didn't know if he was going to come into play. He's only in like 2 scenes with Alina, and he's like very weird and creepy, and she tries to avoid him because he creeps her out. And I don't even remember like what he had said to her, but I get the feeling he's a good guy. Like, he gives creepy vibes, but he's there to help in the end. So I'm not like, you know, he took over for the king, but now he's since disappeared. It says that the first and second armies are threatening to go to war with each other. There's rumors that the sun summoner was dead, so everyone thinks that Alina's dead. They waited to hear word of the Darkling's death, but it never came. So they're on a ship. They're just like, they're looking out for the Darkling's dark sails. Like, it just, like, the only goal that I can come up with is, it says they are orphans again with no true home but each other and whatever life they can make together on the other side of the sea. So we'll just have to read the second book to like figure out what their plan actually is, which I'm sure will get thwarted and they'll have to use their power and everything. Okay, really quick final thoughts. I am not happy because I was such a fan of Six of Crows and I was such a fan of this Crooked Kingdom that I really expected higher stakes, more fun, better characters. I wanted a love interest that I was feral for, the way that I was feral for Kaz Brecker, okay? That man... When I think about Kaz Brecker, I literally can't even form words. That's how much of a fictional husband he is to me. He means so much to me, and neither Mal nor the Darkling were giving that for me. Alina, I like her fine, but I'm not like in love with her, like especially the way that I was with what was her name in the other series? She was like the Suli acrobat who was like sold into prostitution, and she was like Kaz Brecker's love interest, but they're not. That tension there was so good, and I was like waiting for that kind of tension here, and we just didn't get it. Like, I'm not feeling it, and maybe it's because the book is so dang short. There just like wasn't enough time to build that kind of tension up. I'm very excited to... Sorry, I'm just reading the acknowledgements. I'm excited to get into the rest of it. I hope that it picks up. I hope that it's as good as everyone is frothing at the mouth about, because that's all I hear. Shadow and Bone, Shadow and Bone, Shadow and Bone. Bring back Shadow and Bone at Netflix, you know? So yeah, whatever. I'm gonna start the second book, and oh, there's bonus materials. What does this mean? Oh shoot. Okay, there's letters. Oh shoot. Okay, see, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for a little bit more from our boy Mal here, because he says that he didn't receive any of her letters, but I don't know that he wrote her letters either, but he may have wrote them and then never sent them. So I think, so there's like bonus material at the end. So, okay, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to read the bonus material. I'm going to start the second book, and I'm not going to update for a minute because I've already talked so dang much and it's only been book 1. So shut up, Emma. I'm going to shut up and read. I'll see you guys in a minute. Hey, okay, I have a little update for Siege and Storm. I literally don't know the names of these books, I swear. I just know Shadow and Bone. So Siege and Storm is the second one, and it's been a minute. Okay, I am 54% of the way through the book. I have like a little under 4 hours to go, and I'm reading it really slowly because I'm like really taking it in. I'm also like reading it while I'm multitasking and doing other stuff, so it's like, I don't know. I feel like if I just were to sit down and read it, I could finish it pretty quickly, but it's taken me a couple of days for sure. But okay, so let's talk about what has happened so far, because what do you mean she has 3 love interests? That's my favorite trope right there. Okay, I say that a lot, I know, but 3 love interests? Yep. Yep, that's my favorite trope right there. Okay, so we left off of Shadow and Bone with Alina and Mal escaping. Okay, like they escaped the Darkling and they escaped like all the destruction that he was doing and that he was making her as the Sun Summoner do. So they get on a ship. They're like on a pirate ship. And the Darkling comes back and captures them. Okay, it's like, I feel like the beginning of the story lasted so long, like so many chapters went into this beginning, to where when we're here at the 55% mark, I can't believe we've gotten here after everything that we went through in the beginning. So like, hopefully I'm not like skipping over anything important. So the Darkling captures Mal and Alina, okay? And he tells Mal, because Mal is like a tracker, he's like the best tracker of all time. He tells him that he needs him to find this mythical sea dragon, which, hold on, I looked it up because I don't know how to say it. Ravkan. Yeah, so he's like a mythical creature, kind of like the stag who gave her the collar, right? He basically wants to create a second amplifier for Alina because she's so strong. And also, I think that, well, she's connected to the Darkling through the stag's collar. I don't know if she is connected to him through the sea dragon. Basically, Mal finds the sea dragon because he's the best tracker, of course, and he is threatened with Alina's life if he doesn't. And that's how the Darkling like controls them. He's like, Mal's gonna die if you don't do this. Okay, now Alina's gonna die if you don't do this. That's why they're kind of quick to do his bidding. So he finds Ravkan, and it's basically like the amplifier for the first one was like the collar, right, the stag's antlers, and then this one is like fishy scales that like goes on her wrist. It's like kind of like a bracelet. Wait, no, I was looking at the wrong thing. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. The dragon's name is Rasail, okay? I'm so dumb. Okay, aboard this ship, it's not the Darkling ship, it's this man named Sturmhold's ship, and he's just like, basically he's like, anyone can buy me, you know, the Darkling gave me a lot of money and I am not going to say no to a lot of money, and so that's why I'm helping him out. Basically, like, that's why I'm allowing him to capture and keep you guys on my ship and everything. Well, after they find Rusail, the sea dragon, basically like all hell breaks loose. So another boat shows up and they capture Alina and Mal, and Sturmhold also gets on that boat, and like two other people from like Sturmhold's you know, like whole band of pirates, I guess. Like, I just imagine it like a pirate ship. They escape, okay? So there's a lot that goes on while they're on this ship, because it can like go through water and it can also fly through air. So they like fight the Volcra, you know. When the Darkling had captured Alina and Mel, he showed her his new creation, which these words are also very unique, which I love learning this new language, but I have to look it up because I don't know how to say it. So he shows her his new creation, which are Nicheoa, and they're basically like Volca, but like ×2. And when he shows her these, well, he doesn't like show them, he kind of like unleashes them to get Mal and Alina on his ship, right? And they like, one of them like punctures her, so like she has like a wound in her from them, and it's kind of like a wound that will never heal. And so while she's on the ship with Sturmhold and Mal, she keeps seeing visions of the Darkling. So the Darkling is like literally like in her head kind of the whole book. Another thing that's crazy though, because remember this, she has the collar, she has the new bracelet, she has 2 amplifiers now, and Grisha aren't even supposed to have 1 amplifier because they're already so strong and so much, I mean, just they have more power than like any normal person. So like to put an amplifier on a Grisha is kind of illegal, because it's just like, that just makes them too powerful. Like, we can't be having that. But now she has 2, and she's been warned that she will start to go crazy. Like, the power is going to go to her head and she's going to start going crazy. So she thinks that these visions of the Darkling that she's having is like a side effect of the powerful amplifiers that she has on her, right? So another plot twist happens. Sturmhold is actually Prince Nikolai, and I'm just gonna say right now, I mean, I love the Darkling, like, don't get me wrong, the Darkling I think is still my number 1 just because, but Nikolai takes the cake, okay? He is so funny, he's so cute, like, you can tell he's just like this charming man, and like, we're supposed to love him, and he's probably gonna end up being the real love interest, like, let's be real, because Mal has been fucking up, okay? But let me not get ahead of myself. So Sturmhold
that's like his fake name, like when he wants to be a pirate. Okay, like I don't know how to explain it, but Prince Nikolai, he is the king's son, of course. He has an older brother whose name is Vasily. Vasily is his brother's name, and Vasily is like the heir to the throne. He's the oldest, and Nikolai is the second oldest, and it's also like kind of rumored that he's a bastard, that that he's not the king's son, of course. So basically Nikolai takes Alina and Mal back to the little palace from the first book where the Grisha were training and everything, and that's also where the king and queen, like the king and queen are like off of the little palace. They have like their own like part of the kingdom, right? But like the little palace is part of their command. And he's like, you know, I have the sun summoner, look, she's not dead, because that's what everyone at the end of the first book thought, was that she was dead. And she, you know, shows her light and everything, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're saved and all this. And since she's the sun summoner, she's like literally like in charge of everything. Like she is now in charge of the Grisha, just like how the Darkling was in charge of them in the first book. Now she's the commander, and she basically just like changes things up, because the Grisha are all about like cliques, you know, like if you are a Grisha who like makes material, you stick with those that make material. If you are a Grisha who like fights, you stay with those who fight. If you're a medical, you know, like it's very cliquey. And she's like, we're having none of that. Everyone's learning how to fight, everyone's learning everyone's abilities, because that'll just make us stronger overall. Another thing is that they don't have all of the Grisha, because a lot of the Grisha have gone to the Darkling, including her best friend Genya, I think was her name. I can't remember. She was in the very beginning of the book. She was in all throughout the first book, and then the very beginning of the second one. And when Nikolai / Sturmhold takes over the ship, like he escapes the ship with Alina and Mal, because it was all like a ploy, you know, like he had this plan the whole time to get Alina and like bring her to the little palace and everything, right, with the king and queen. And he proposes to her at one point, because he's like, we will be so strong together, you know, like I don't care if you have Mal as your fuck buddy, that's fine, but like for power purposes, for like bringing the Grisha and us together, like the regular people, because he's not a Grisha, you know, our marriage would be really good and everything, our marriage would be really profitable. And she's like, no, you know, Vasily, his older brother, also proposes to her. She's like a hot commodity, and Mal is so jealous. He is a big old jealous baby. Okay, here's another thing though, he just like doesn't, I don't know how to say it, like it's not that he is jealous of her power, he like doesn't want her to have it. He's like, I wish we could just go back to how it was normally when we were orphans and we were like working for the army, or when in the second book when we were just like running away, and like when they were trying to find the stag, right, before the Darkling could find it, they were just like living by themselves and sleeping outside together every day. And that's like what he wants to go back to. He doesn't like that she has all this power. Another thing is that the power is going to her head, which I love that trope. I love that trope so much. I haven't seen it a lot. The Poppy Wars did it great. The Cruel Prince did it a little bit, but not super well in my opinion, or like, I don't know, not to the extent that the Poppy Wars did. But this one, I love when the power goes to their head, and I'm like so excited to see how the rest of it's gonna go, because she has 2 amplifiers. There's a third amplifier, I think it's called the Firebird. I think that's what it's called, the Firebird. And so she's trying to find that one, because she's like, I need all 3, because for one, the Darkling can't find any of them. We can't have him finding any of them. Another thing, the Darkling is like, I'm trying to remember if he like lost his power or if he's just like weak somehow, but him and his army have like taken refuge like up north or something like that. So like we, you know, they talk about like battle and battle plans every day, because she's like, you know, the leader of the Grisha. And they talk about that they believe that he's up there, they believe they've spotted him up there, but there's like no, like they just don't have a big enough army to hit him yet. They're kind of waiting for him to come to them so that she can like fight him, right? Okay, so one thing I definitely want to mention, the apparent, he is so weird. I don't know what his deal is. I feel like he's someone who's like destined to help her. Like he knew this whole time that like his life was only created for her. But the apparent, he gave her a book in the first book, and it's like a book on Grisha, and she just like was so freaked out by him that she just like put it away and didn't read it. But it talks about the amplifiers in there, and it talks about like all these prophecies, I think, and all this stuff. And he like gave it to her, she never read it. He is in charge of oh, what is he in charge of? I think he's in charge of the first army, because there's the first army and the second army, and the second army is with Alina and the king and Prince Nikolai and all of that. And then the first army, I believe they're still there, and then there's the Darkling and his army, and he has like all the Grisha. He has like, you know, 75% of the Grisha. So there's like 3 armies basically, and I think that the his name is the Apparat. I was calling him a parent. His name is Apparat. But he shows up again, and he asks Alina to join him. He's like, oh, come with me. You know, he's being like very weird, and she's like, no. But he obviously knew about the amplifier, so she's like, can you tell me where to find the Firebird? And he kind of like chuckles, and he's like, yeah, I can if you come with me. Like, he's being very suspicious, but it's like too suspicious to where like I trust him, you know, like I don't know what he's doing, but I'm like very intrigued by it. So let's talk about Mal. Mal is a bitch, and I hate him. Okay, little bitch boy. So they get in a fight because he has been really distant from her. He takes like every opportunity to go like out of the city limits, to go like with the army to like go look at something. Like if something needs to be looked at, or I don't know, like if something needs to be investigated, he's like, yep, I'll go, you know. And he is the best tracker. He is also the commander of her like her personal guard, right? Like he sits outside her door and all this stuff. Like he makes sure that she's protected. And that was kind of like their compromise with Nikolai. They're like, okay, we'll stay here, we'll be like this, I'll be this leader here and everything, but Mal is my right hand man and all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Whole time Nikolai is still like flirting with her and coming on to her, and they like do a lot of meetings. They have a lot of meetings together and everything. So it's like Mal is seeing that they're getting closer. He's like doing jobs from far away. He's just like becoming more distant. They get in a fight. He's like, I think that they like kind of break up a little bit, and he is seen the next day just like super like beat up, and he's very cold with her. He's just like, oh, my lady, is there anything else you need? You know, like I don't remember the exact language that he uses, but it's basically like a term of like your ladyship. And he's just like, is there anything else you need? She's like, Mal, wait, you know, and he's just like, anything I can do for you? You know, he's just like acting like a personal detail, but it's like clearly weird because they have, you know, she doesn't want to fight with him. She wants to be with him. Like she wants to make him happy and everything. So she finally finds out that he like brawls in this like underground fighting ring where he fights the Grisha, and the Grisha are like clearly stronger and have more power than him, but he fights them anyway, and he puts up a good fight. She watches him. I believe that he actually beats one of them, like he wins, right? And this girl, her name is Zoya, and she was in the first book, and he was like infatuated by her, right? Like he was caught like staring at her and like basically drooling after her, and she's like very gorgeous, because the Grisha are just like gorgeous, but she's like another level of gorgeous above them. Like everyone knows Zoya, right? And she's also like a very good fighter. She's very smart. She's very jealous of Alina because she and the first one wanted to be the Darkling's right hand man, and like she wanted to be the Sun Summoner. Like she just wanted like all of the glory that Alina has, and she believes that she like deserves it because she's just like so much better of a Grisha. Like she's been a Grisha her whole life, whereas Alina found out she was a Grisha like 6 weeks ago, right? So Zoya comes back and she's just like, you know, I will serve you, like you're the Sun Summoner, like I am here to, like she's very loyal, right? She's a very loyal person, and I don't hate her as a character at all. I actually really like her. But she runs up to Mal after he wins this little brawl and kisses him. And at first he's like surprised, but then he like leans into the kiss and he starts kissing her back. And Alina is there just shocked, just fucking shocked. She is pissed because they haven't like broken up. They've just been fighting. And this just kind of like confirms that. Like this confirms that they're never getting back together, okay? So, you know, Mal is basically like, he might even die in this book. I don't know. I have so many thoughts. The Darkling is like visiting her more and more. Oh, that's why they fought, because he leaned in to kiss her and she winced because she saw the Darkling behind him. So, you know, she's gonna kiss Mal, and then the Darkling is like laughing or like saying something to her behind him, and she like winces and jumps back. And so he's like, wow, like, you know, you spent all this time with Nikolai, you can't even kiss me. And that's like what starts the fight. I totally forgot about that. So the Darkling is like, now he's able to like touch her, like he caresses her cheek, he like wipes her tears, like he just shows up everywhere. And we don't know if it's him doing it, if it's because of the wound on her back that never healed from those creatures that he created. We don't know if it has to do with all of the power that she has that's it might be making her go crazy. Like, it's so good, you guys. I'm like really enjoying it. I've talked for so long already about this. I need to shut up and finish the book. Okay, thanks for listening. I'll see you in a minute. I don't know if you can tell, but I did not plan on filming today. I just finished the second book. Still don't even know what it's called. That's how short this book was. Siege and Storm, okay? And I was only 68% of the way through it on the Kindle. There's so much extra stuff at the end of the book. Oh my god. That is so aggravating because I was not able to tell that the book was about to finish. It's literally so much. Like, there's so, I still had over 2 hours left because I've been going through it. It says that there's, let's see, there's a sneak peek for the third book. There's a Six of Crows excerpt. Like, there's so much stuff at the end. The book is like a whole extra, it says it's only 37 extra pages. That is a lie. Or an extra 7 pages. That's a lie because there's literally still over 2 hours left in the book. And I've been literally, oh my god. So literally I don't even know where I left off with my last update when I was 50% of the way through. I was probably closer to like 80% of the way through by that point. It's like, I don't even, what even happened in that last update? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, okay, the whole stuff with Mel. They like broke up and he kissed Zola or whatever. So basically, okay, I'm just gonna go through it quickly because it was so fast. It happened so quickly. So basically the next big thing that happens is it's Prince Nikolai's birthday, okay? And you know, the king is there. She's there as like his guest because they're like kind of teasing this like girlfriend-boyfriend relationship because he wants to get married to her so that they can have like the Grisha on their side and everything. And she likes Nikolai, of course, like he's, you know, probably gonna be the love interest at the end, okay? So it's his birthday and his brother is being like super smug. He's like the prince who has the right to become the king once the king dies, right? He's the older brother. And he's being very smug and he's like, oh, I made a deal with this other group of people who everyone on Nikolai's side, they thought that he was working with the Darkling. And so when he tells that he made this deal where they would come in and fight with the second army, that's the army that Alina is now in charge of with the Grisha and everything, he's like, oh, you know, we made this deal and all they wanted was access to this, you know, one port over here. And Nikolai like stiffens. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, we have no army over there. They can take over and then come into the palace. Like they can come storm us right now. And he's like, if this allyship is true, then why aren't they here to celebrate it right now? And he's like, oh my god. And everyone's like, oh my god, because it's his birthday. Everyone's there. Like it would be so easy for the Darkling to take advantage of this and storm in and kill them. And the brother, he's so stupid. He's so dumb. He just fell for it right away. So, you know, like immediately the windows crash and all of the, I don't remember what they're called. Hold on, let me look it up. Oh, okay. Nichevioya? Wait. Nichevioya. Okay, those are the creatures that the Darkling created. They're the ones that like punctured her back so that they have like this bond, like I don't know. But the Nicheyova, they show up and they just start killing everyone, okay? So Alina has left with like her guards and Mal because Mal is like her guard and everything. They just bunker down to where all the other Grisha are because she's like, I can't leave the Grisha, I have to be with them. So Nikolai is like trying to save his family and save the people, and she's trying to save the Grisha, so they have to separate. And she's with Mal and her 2 guards. They get to where all the Grisha are, and the Nicheyovia have literally like demolished everyone. Like there's literally like 8 Grisha left. Like they demolished, you know, 90% of their whole army, and their army was not big to begin with, but there's literally like 8 people left, okay? And so her guards are like, okay, let's get to the church because they have an underground tunnel in the church, and so they're trying to get Alina there to like save her and everything. And they get to the church, the Darkling shows up because it was all a coup for the Darkling to show up. He's like, Elena, leave with me right now. You know that this is the best thing for everyone. If you leave with me, I'll spare everyone. And she's like, you promise? And he's like, yep. So she's like, okay, everyone leave. I'm going with the Darkling. And Mal is like, no. And the twins, who are like her other 2 guards, they're like, what are you doing and everything? And she's like, go. Like, if you want, they're like, we'll die for you. And she's like, I don't care. If you serve me, then this is my command. Take Mal and go. So she goes up to the Darkling and he's like, oh, finally, you know, our powers can be together. And she feels how powerful it is to be with him. They kiss, and then she is able to take his power. Like she totally like soups everything out of him because she's more powerful than him because he gave her the stag collar, and she has the scales from that sea monster that they caught, right? She has 2 amplifiers, remember? And so she sucks all of his life out of him and creates her own Nichiovias, okay? Which is crazy, which is so cool. I love that she did that. And so technically the Darkling's dead, and because their power is linked, she was dying too, so like they were kind of dying together and like collapsing together. But Mal grabs her, takes her through the little passageway wormhole that they have, that the twins went through, and they just like basically bring her back to life. The Apparat is there, and I forgot about this. He's a priest, so he's like a really like, he's just this very like religious fanatic, and she's like a saint, right? Like she's considered a saint because she's here to like deliver the people and everything, and just like she's the sun summoner, like they've been waiting their whole life for her and everything. So the Apparat's there, and like his other like clergymen, and the twins who are her guards, they like are kind of on his side too, and his side is just to keep her protected at all times. Like they kind of hint that this underground place that they're in is like a tomb, like they would rather just keep her down there than like have her up outside able to be assassinated at any point or anything like that. So, and then literally then the book ends. No, okay, this is what happened when the book ends. She's talking to Mal, and she looks at herself in the mirror, and she has like white hair, brittle white hair. She's sunken in, like she looks sick and old and frail because she hasn't been able to use her magic because she kind of died and they had to bring her back to life. Like the twins used all this healing and magic stuff from the Grisha to like bring her back because she was dying with the Darkling, right? And her plan was just to die. She was like, I'm going to take him down with me, but they bring her back to life, so she has not been able to use her magic in a long time. And Mal is like, oh, it's okay, like you'll look better and you'll feel better once you use your magic. And she's like, no, that's just it. I don't feel my magic anymore. I don't have my magic. I can't call the light. So, and that's literally where the book ends. And I'm sitting here like, because it's no longer like chapter 23, it says after, and that's like the book always starts with before and then it ends with after. And I'm like, hold on a minute, what do you mean? So then I look, and it's literally, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. What do you mean? Like, why is there so much at the end of this book? It's, I swear, like half the book is at the end of the book after the book is over, and it's just excerpts from her other books taking up space. Stop it. It's making me sick. I finished this so quickly. I finished this so quickly because I had no idea that it was going to end like this. I was like ready to take a break and finish it later. Nope. Okay, I guess I'm getting right into the third one. I was expecting so much more. I feel a little disappointed because I was thinking like, oh, this is crazy, all this stuff that's going on, but we still have 2 hours left in the book, right? Like there's something else crazy that's going to happen. And so that's how the book ends. So I guess the Darkling's dead, which is cool. She doesn't have her powers. She can't feel her powers, but I feel like that's such an easy fix. Like something's gonna happen, like they find the Firebird in the third book or something like that, and she gets her powers back. Like it's gonna be like an easy fix. I'm not worried about it. So for that to be the cliffhanger, not my thing. But yeah, so I'm gonna skip past 2 hours of pages right now on my Kindle so that I can have 100% complete on it, and then I will go into the third one and we'll see how this series ends. Hey y'all. Okay, so I am here with an update for Ruin and Rising. I think that's the name of it. I swear I cannot keep these names together. Hold on. let me double check this. Yes, Ruin and Rising. Okay, the third book in the Shadowbone series. I am on chapter 16, so I have 3 chapters to go, 16, 17, and 18, and then there's like the after, right? The prologue. Okay, it says I'm 60% of the way through the book, which is a lie, just like the last one lied to me, because there's extra stuff at the end of this, but I'm not gonna fall for it this time. I know that there are 18 chapters in this, and that's all I've been going off of. This percentage means nothing to me. The time left in the book means nothing to me. Basically, even the page numbers really don't mean much to me because I've just been going off chapters, because I'm not getting caught by surprise again by this book. It's not gonna happen again. So far, I just want to give like a little synopsis before I finish it real quick, because I don't know, I just feel like I need to update this. It's been a while. Okay, so we left off with Storms and Siege, or Storm and Siege, or something like that, the second one. We left off with her fighting the Darkling in the cathedral, and then they went underground. Alina, Mal, her guards, and just like a few other Grisha that were with her. There's not a lot left, remember? They went underground, and the what's his name? The Apparat, that's his name. The Apparat, he's like this
priest, right? And he wants to keep Elena underground, right? He wants to give her the throne, but he's like, stay underground, it's safe. He's like a little freaky, right? He's like a freaky little guy who lives underground, okay? And he does keep her safe, but she doesn't trust him. Like, she really thinks that if they are able to get rid of the Darkling and she becomes the Sun Summoner, she becomes like the person who sits on the throne, right? Like this saint and everything, that she's going to basically become his puppet. So she just doesn't trust him. They basically break out. She kind of points at him and is like, you know, I'm so much stronger than this. I'm stronger than you. You have no power over me and you never will. So we're leaving. They finally leave. Her power has also like gone from her because she went through like a lot of trauma at the end of the last book, but then also because she's been underground, she has no access to the sun, and that is what like gives her power, right? Is she has to be like nourished by sunlight. She has to be nourished by the outside world, and since she's been underground, her hair is brittle and white, and she is just like not she's not able to summon her power. They leave and she's with Mal, of course, and Mal, you guys, when oh my gosh, I have so much to say about him. I'm a little pissed off. Okay, so they leave the underground. She has some of her powers back. She like keeps practicing to keep them strong, and she has like other people on her team who like help her and everything, right? She is on the lookout for two things. She's trying to find the Firebird, which is the third amplifier that this man created. His name is like okay, his name is Morozova, and we learned about him in the first book. We keep hearing about him throughout the last two books as well. He's the one who created the amplifiers, right? He's the one who we find out later. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get ahead of myself here. His daughter is Bagra, who, if you remember Bagra from the first book, she's the one who trained Alina how to like hone her powers and everything. Bagra is also the mother of the Darkling, okay? And the Darkling has been alive for hundreds and thousands of years. He is the one who created the Fold, which the Fold is all of the Volcra, all those baddies with wings who like are freaky and everything. And so her father was Morozova, which means that she has like Darkling blood in her too. She has this blood that Morozova has. Morozova created the amplifiers and then he hid them because he was like, it's too like, someone very powerful, only someone very powerful is going to be able to handle all of these, and they can't be put into the wrong hands, right? Alina is that person who can hold on to them because of course she has the collar, and we know she got that other one. It's like fish scales on her arm. I don't know, it's like a bracelet, okay? So she has a necklace and a bracelet, and so she's after the Firebird, which is the third amplifier, and she believes that this is the thing that will finally let her be able to conquer the Darkling. She also is looking for Nikolai, which at the end of the second book, Nikolai, he took his parents, the king and the queen, and he took Bagra, and they escaped because remember the Darkling and all of his forces, his whole guard and everything, they stormed the birthday party for Nikolai at the end of the second book because his dumbass brother made a dumbass deal and his dumbass brother dies, okay? But so Nikolai has his parents and he has Bagra, so they're looking for Nikolai and they're looking for the Firebird. What happens next is the Darkling finds them. It doesn't really matter how, he is able to come upon them and he starts to kind of overtake them, right? Like he's using his powers and she's trying to fight back with her Sun Summoner powers and everything with her light. And Nikolai shows up and he saves them. He has another one of his ships because remember in the second book when we found him, he was like a pirate basically. He was like the captain of the ship and he has a lot of ships that fly and a lot of ships that sail. So he rounds them up, he saves them, they're on their ship that flies and they like fly away from the Darkling, right? The Darkling is also very weak, by the way, so that's why they were able to like get away from him. So this is where we learn that Morozova is Bagra's father. So we learn that Bagra can also summon darkness. She has like darkness powers just like her son does. And also she had a sister who died and their father, Morozova, resurrected the sister, but she had no magical powers. Okay, that's important for later. It's really stupid, but it's important for later. And also basically this is like important because
talked about the king and queen before. The king and queen are there, but Nikolai banishes his father and banishes his mother, basically saying you guys can go like live a cushy life off in like this beach world, like this area where it's like fine for you, but because you have been convicted of sexually assaulting your servants, which he was, because her best friend Genya, remember, she comes back, and I don't think I mentioned her at the end of the last book because I like there's just so many characters where I'm like, I get that they're here and they're good side characters, but they really are not needed for the plot at all. Like, they're not needed for these explanations of the plot. I could not mention a single character except for Alina, Mal, Nikolai, the Darkling, and maybe Bagra, and that would literally be fine. But yeah, he would abuse his servants, including her friend Genya, and so to like, I don't know, like gain some control, Nikolai is like, I am in charge now, I am banishing you, you know, your son who was supposed to become the king is dead, and I have this power, like I'm with Alina as well, because they're still trying to play off that, oh, we might get married, we might not get married, to like combine the forces, right? So basically Nikolai is going to become the king if he can fight off the Darkling. If they can win against the Darkling, then the good side will win, Nikolai will be king, the king who was abusive will not be king anymore, blah blah blah. Nikolai proposes to Alina again, he gives her a ring and he's like, please consider it. And she talks with Mal, and Mal is like, remember at the end of the last book, Mal was like having a freak out. He totally had like a mental breakdown. He was fighting Grisha underground late at night. He kissed Toya or Zoya, I think her name is Zoya, yeah. He kissed Zoya, who's like the most beautiful Grisha of all time, who hates Alina. And but she also like works for Alina, like she has pledged allegiance to Alina, and like we trust her, like I know that she's a good person. She's just like gorgeous and has this past with Mal. We find out that they did it. We find out that Mal and Zoya actually had sex. Oh, I would have been sick to my stomach. I would have been sick if I was Alina. It made me sick to my stomach reading that, because it was very like, have you ever? And Zoya's like, yeah, we did. And then Alina's like, okay. And she like moves on with her life, because she's still like, it's just such a confusing relationship that they have, because they have been together since they were orphans, since they were in the army together, and then when she became a Grisha, he came to be part of her personal guard, and then he fucked up because she had all these other men coming after her, and also he felt inadequate next to her. And he says that in this book that he feels unworthy of her, but he has basically just, it's pretty cool. He has this, she finds out that he has this huge tattoo on his back with words in like their language or in a different language, and it basically says, I am become a blade, meaning that like he is a tool. Like he has dedicated his life to being a tool for her, and he will do whatever she needs, whatever he needs to do for her. He is like a better guard member now. He's not like falling asleep and like letting things slip like he was in the second book when he was going through his breakdown, because he wasn't sleeping, he was drinking all night, like he wasn't taking care of himself to take care of Alina, and he paid heavily for that price because she got hurt in the second book and everything. And now he's like, I'm gonna be the best for you, like no worries anymore, you know, and all this stuff. But he basically tells her that she should reconsider the proposal to Nikolai, because he's like, I'm not good enough for you, like I am unworthy of you, I am here to be your blade, and that's it, and we'll never be more than that, unfortunately. And so Alina's like, yeah, for the betterment of society, and because I am the sun summoner, and because I am a leader of the Grisha people, and they are my people, and I found my people, I should consider marrying Nikolai, right? Okay, something big that happens, they are on their way to find the Firebird. It's Mal, Alina, Nikolai, and a few members of the guard, of her guard, and the Darkling comes and attacks, and he turns Nikolai into one of his darkness things. They're called the Nichayova, I believe is what it is. They're basically like Volca, but they're worse. He turns Nikolai into one, but Alina can like still sense his humanity. Like she's like kind of able to communicate with him, and he doesn't do a lot of damage. Like, I don't know, it's weird, but basically Nikolai is like out of commission. Okay, like he is gone. He like flew away. Like he was like so surprised that this had happened, and he just like flies away and everything. Bagra, because Bagra's there, and Bagra Bagra is Nikolai's mother. No, sorry. Bagra is the Darkling's mother, right? And she has darkness within her. So because she's so mad at the Darkling that he is just like all about this power, and that's like her thing. Like she tells Elena, don't go after the amplifiers, just run away, like don't fight him, he'll come to his own destruction, like we don't need more powerful Grisha. Like she just doesn't like the power that people have, and that's why she's been hiding her darkness power all these years. She basically becomes so upset and she like turns into darkness, or she does something with her darkness and flies off of a cliff, and all of his Volka and Nichayova like fly after her, so they die basically. Like he can make more, and I'm sure he has more. I'm sure he didn't bring his whole army here, but she killed a lot of them, and she killed herself to save Elena and Mal and her guard and everything. And Nikolai is like gone, like he flew away, right? He's a Darkling. He's a thing of the Darklings now, and he still has like enough humanity in him to not be following the Darkling, so he like flies away, right? Shadow monsters, that's a good word for it. Okay, I had to look it up because the shadow monsters are the ones who are like the Darklings like aid like his people, like his army, right? And so they jump off the cliff after Bagra, and she kills like a bunch of his shadow monsters, right? Okay. Okay, here is where I get a little pissed off because oh my god. Okay, so the Darkling, he like flies away. I don't know, like whatever, that part's over. Okay, that was just to explain where Nikolai is. So Mal and Elena and her guard keep trekking to find the Firebird. They think that it's somewhere where Elena and Mal grew up, like where they were orphans together, and so they go to that area. Okay, and they find the Firebird, but like nothing happens. Like literally they find it, and then they both suddenly realize that the Firebird is not the third amplifier. Mal is the third amplifier. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, girl, what the fuck? Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, where did this come from? What are we talking about here? Because the way that she comes across it in the book is she's like, they see the Firebird, and then she looks at Mal and she's like, oh my god. She's like, there's no wonder that when I'm with Mal, my power is stronger. There's no wonder that when Mal was tracking for the stag in the first book, and when he was made to track for the second amplifier, I don't remember what it was some fish thing, that when he wasn't with me, he couldn't find them. But then once we were together, we found the stag immediately. And then when he found the second one, he was only able to find it when I was next to him, because they would like huddle up together, and he would like search the sea and everything, because they were basically said, the Darkling had said that he's going to torture both of them if he doesn't find the Firebird. So it was like motivation for Mal and motivation for Elena to help him find it and all this stuff. Not the Firebird, I'm sorry, when they were finding the second amplifier when they were on the Darkling ship, right? Okay. So I don't understand how they figure this out. It's literally so not explained here. I had to look it up on a summary guide because I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna explain this to my camera. Okay, so she finds out in this moment where we find out that the Firebird is not the amplifier, because they find the Firebird, but then she realizes that Mal is the amplifier. Basically, she finds out that Morozova, when he created the third amplifier, instead of putting it in the Firebird, as everyone has been thinking, he put it into the daughter that he resurrected, Bagra's sister that he resurrected, okay? And she finds out in this moment, in this little page on the book, she finds out in this moment that Mal is a descendant of that daughter. Okay, so that's why he is the amplifier, because he has her blood. He was her son, right? It's so, like, it literally is not explained. Like, maybe, I'm sure I missed something. I must have missed something, because like they have these journals that one of the member of her guard keeps around, so maybe they looked in the journals and found it out later to confirm it, but I don't remember reading that. I don't remember that at all, and I am trying to pay close attention to this book, obviously, because I want to enjoy it. So I don't know how I missed it, but apparently that's how it's explained, is that Mal is the descendant of the daughter of Morozova, who the third amplifier was put into when she was resurrected. Okay. And Elena is like obviously distraught because she has had to kill all of the amplifiers in order to get the amplifier. She had to kill the stag, or well, the stag had, she didn't kill the stag. She tried to save the stag, like let it go, show mercy, but the Darkling killed the stag to get the collar. They had to kill the, oh, it was like a sea monster, that's what it was. They had to kill the sea monster to get the second amplifier that she has around her wrist. So she's like, fuck, you know, like, I'm gonna have to kill Mal to get the third amplifier to save the world, to kill the Darkling, right? Like, that's what she's thinking. And that's what he's thinking too. He's like, go ahead, I know you have to do it, it's not a big deal, like, that's what I'm here for. I am to become a blade, remember? Like, he is there to be used by her to save the world, and he's fine with that. But she's obviously distraught because she loves him, and she's like finally coming to terms of like, I thought I kind of liked Nikolai. I obviously have this connection with the Darkling because I'm supposed to be with the Darkling, because I was basically created to be with the Darkling, but I'm going against him because I don't want to be dealing with evil. Basically, I want to be a good guy and all this stuff. So like, she's finally coming to terms with the fact that Mal is her one and only. Like, Mal is the one that she loves. She has been with him for years. She's always felt that way, but he like always had other girls, right? Including Zoya, remember? Okay, he fucked Zoya. It makes me so mad. And it's like such a random moment when they confirmed that they had gotten together, him, Mal, and Zoya. It's like, it didn't need to be there. It could have just been that kiss in the ring in the second book that made us all pissed off. But no, they ended up doing it. Poor Elena, like, my heart drops for her. Basically, Mal, it comes to terms with the fact that she's gonna have to kill him, and they like start getting ready for the big fight with the Darkling. I don't remember what chapter 15 left off on. Where were we? Oh, literally they're getting ready to fight. They're like traveling to the Darkling. Okay, I was exactly right. Yeah, so the climax is about to happen. I thought that I would give a little update and then I would film myself reacting to the end, because hopefully it's good. It's the last book in the series of an author who writes some of my most favorite books. I am ready to go, and I'm excited to just see where this is going. I wonder if she's gonna have to kill Mel. I wonder how that's gonna work. I'm sure the Darkling dies, but I also like want to know what's gonna go on with Nikolai. Like, I feel like there's too much to happen. Technically, according to this, because I can't go by percentage, and I have 3 chapters left, 340. I have about 70 pages left. So 70 pages left, I'm gonna say, in the last 3 chapters and the afterward. So I'm gonna get to reading, and we will see where we end up from there. Ah! Okay, let's go. Okay, wow. I just finished, I still don't know the name of it. I still don't know the name of this book. Ruin and Rising. I just finished the Shadow and Bone series. What do you think about that? Huh? What do you think about that? What do I think about that is the real question. I'm still crying. Okay. Basically, okay, so where I left off with the explanation, let me just tell the rest of the story and then I'll talk about my thoughts and feelings. So basically, from what I remember from I don't remember what I last talked about, but basically her and Mal make up, okay? She understands that she's gonna have to sacrifice him at some point in order to use all of the amplifiers to defeat the Darkling, which is like the whole point of everything, right? And so like they have a moment together, they like spend a night together, and they're like, it's all okay. And it was a really good callback because like you really remember how the first book started and how all of the other books have started, where it talks about in the beginning, it's like, a girl did this, a boy did this, and it's full of Leigh Bardugo's like wonderful writing. Like, she just can construct a sentence so amazingly well. Like, I would love to see her editing process. I would love to see if she just is able to come up with these sentences and be like this lyrical writing genius, or if she just like writes a simple sentence and then edits it 4 times until it's like as beautiful as she makes them. She's really talented, okay? So they like make up. Basically, it's just the end of the book. The end of the book happens. And we are fighting the Darkling. His forces are there. The Volk is there. The Fold is there. Nikolai, who turned into like one of his things, she tries to like help him at some point because he's like been following them the whole time they're traveling. He still has like some of his like human semblance, like some of his Nikolai semblance. He's not like fully taken into the dark side, which I don't know if that's like ever explained. Like, how come he didn't like really turn into one of the Nichayova or one of the Volca, like, you know, like why was he able to like resist it? She tries to like heal him with her light. It doesn't work. We get to the fight and they're losing. We can hear all of their friends dying and like everything's happening. And Mal is like, it's time, you know, it's time to get the third amplifier from me. So he takes the knife and he like takes her hand in the knife because she has to be the one to do it, right? And he like plunges the knife into his chest and he dies. And what happens is that she doesn't get the power of the third amplifier. Instead, I can't remember his name, Moroziova, instead what he had designed to happen if someone was in possession of all three amplifiers, because he didn't believe in like having all of the power for one person, he instead made it to where all of the Grisha, all of them, would get this power. All of the Grisha that are fighting now have the power of her light, and they're like surrounded by darkness because the Darkling's fold has like enveloped them, and they're like winning because they can't see in the dark, right? She's the sun summoner. She's supposed to show them the light so that they can fight them and everything. Instead, because the third amplifier, which was Mal, was used, all of the Grisha now have the power to summon the light, and so they all like shine the light, and the Volcra die, the darkness is gone, the Darkling loses his powers, and Elena also loses her powers. Okay, he dies, the Darkling, oh yeah, she stabs him, that's what it is. So he has no power, and she just comes up on him and stabs him in the heart. And while this is happening, she's talking to her friends and her team, and she's like, bring Mal back, like bring him back. And they are able to bring him back. Okay, they just like breathe life back into him, and he's like clearly very weak. But like, here's the thing is that these people, like, they have powers, right? And they're able to just do things like that if they work hard enough at it. Because if you remember, at the end of the second book, she kind of low-key died too with the Darkling because she used her power on both of them, and he was starting to die, but then he's just like strong enough. If they have a long time to heal, they'll heal, right? And so that's what she was doing at the beginning of this book when she was underground with the apparat. So yeah, they're able to bring Mal back to life, and he's alive, and the Darkling's dead. And what we decide to do is Alina and Mal, because they're like, we can finally be together, like we have no obligation. She's like, I'm not a Grisha anymore because I have no more power, my power's gone, and all I know is that I love Mal, and that's what this whole journey has like taught me. And even though she knew it from the beginning, she just didn't think he felt the same way because he was always with another girl. Okay, he was never coming after her, even though like from the very beginning, from the very first chapter, she is like pining after him. I have some problems with this book and I can't wait to talk about them, but let me keep going. So they decide to just like live as peasants. They're like, we'll just like live as normal people. Nikolai is alive. Oh, that's right. He lost the Darkling, like whatever he had put on him, the curse that made him like one of his Nichayova or whatever. Like he was like a crossbreed. Like it was very weird. He was one of a kind, okay? Because the Darkling died, that darkness came off of him, and he has like scars from it and everything, but he's like the king now. And what they told all of the people was that Elena the Sun Summoner had died, that she was a martyr, she's a saint, right? And she died saving everyone from the Darkling, and Nikolai helped her. Prince Nikolai helped her, and now he's the king, so everyone has like all this respect for him, and they're just trying to like rebuild everything. Alina and Mal are like, we're gonna live as peasants, we're gonna go back to our homeland basically. And she meets up with Nikolai before they leave, and he had given her a ring, remember? Like he had given her this emerald ring because he wanted to marry her. And she's like giving it back to him, and he's like, no, keep it. And she's like, no, like I don't want it, you know? And he's like, no, keep it. Like you can stare at it if you want to, you could sell it, you could make something of it, like that's yours, I gave it to you as a gift, do whatever you want with it. And so what they decide to do in the end, she and Mal open up an orphanage, and they just take in orphans because, you know, they were orphans once, so it's like all, you know, it goes back to the beginning, and they're all really nice to the orphans, and like it's just like a different kind of understanding than what they had when they were orphans. And that's how it ends. Okay, so it ends with her losing her powers, which I've never read a book like that. Like usually they stay powerful, or they die in the end, or I don't know, like they win and they're the king and queen. Like
But no, she literally lost her powers. That's crazy to me. And then she ends up with Mal in the end, which I can't say I hate. I get it, especially like when I think back on the first book, like how the first book started and how they just like it really was going to be Mal from the beginning, right? Like, I can't believe we ever thought that she would ever be with the Darkling. Like, I was sold for the Darkling. I was like, hell yeah, girl, get with him. And then we were supposed to be confused with Nikolai because he's so much more charming, he's more understanding than Mal is, because Mal, his problem is that he's insecure as fuck, okay? He did not appreciate her success. He did not appreciate her power. It wasn't until he almost got her killed in the second book, which I didn't really I briefly talked about this, but when they kind of went through their breakup and he was realizing that he was never going to be good enough for her, he started drinking, sleeping on the job. He was staying up all night fighting Grisha in underground boxing matches, and he like fell asleep during his duty, and she almost got trampled by a bunch of people outside, right? So he almost got her killed, and from then on he like shapes out. And is that right? Ships up? No, whatever it is. Okay, he gets better. He like works on himself to become a blade, remember? And he's just like, I'm just gonna like serve her and do what I can for her until I die, because like that's just like that's what she deserves. And then they find out that he is the third amplifier and he's gonna die anyway, and he's like, perfect, this is what I've been waiting for. I want to sacrifice myself for her, which would have been like so good. Like, can you imagine like if it had been to where he sacrifices himself, she doesn't lose her power, she gets with Nikolai because they had hella chemistry. Okay, they almost kiss in the second book, and she regrets not kissing him after she sees Mal kissing Zoya, which is just like, it would have brought it all together, you know, because it just like proved that she also liked Nikolai. It wouldn't have been like forced or anything. But then if Mal had the sacrifice of being the amplifier, and then like the afterword was all about like how she would like reminisce about Mal and how much she like loved and appreciated Mal, but she was just like so good for her country. But it also like works that she's no longer working in the palace or anything, that she's just like, she now owns this orphanage with Mal, and it's like she's giving back instead of like being some kind of like general or working with the army or like having this power, because it's not like she grew up with the power. And her and Mal talk about that in this book, which I thought was a really good moment. They talk about how if she had been found out to be a Grisha when she was a kid, she would have been taken to the palace, grown up rich, grown up just like with everything that she ever wanted. Like, she would have been like the Darkling's girl from the beginning, and she never would have like had a thought for Mal, right? But then like they talk about it, how she's like, no, I would have found my way to you, you would have found your way to me, because you know, you're this great tracker, you would have found the stag. Like it just like, she kind of explains that like they were meant to be together no matter what, and I thought that that was done very well. That doesn't make me appreciate the ending at all, okay? She lost her powers and she stayed with this insecure man who like kind of low-key hated her for a whole portion of the second book. He's barely in the first book, and then in the third book he's good, like he has his redemption, but I'm like a little disappointed. Like, I'm a little disappointed in this. Also, just because I've read Leigh Bardugo's other books, and like the Six of Crows, like don't even look at me. Like, when I talk about Six of Crows, I get so emotional because it's so good. Those characters are just amazing. And I feel like if Shadow and Bone came first, which I'm pretty sure it did, this was good for her to get it out of her system, to make that story, those tropes, whatever, of her losing her power and staying with the insecure man, so that we could get the ending that we get in the Six of Crows duology with this Crooked Kingdom, because that ending was everything. She understood that we didn't need to be all wrapped up in a nice bow for it to be a good book, right? Okay, like she knew what she had to do for that book, and she did it so well. So I'm glad that this book came, that this series is like a thing. I can't believe it's like so popular on Netflix. I am really excited to watch the Netflix show now, just so that I can, I don't know, understand what the hype is, because I don't know, like reading the book, I was like, I can't imagine this as a super fun show that I would love, but I hope I'm pleasantly surprised. Maybe the characters are hot. I have no idea. I personally am dying for a Six of Crows and this Crooked Kingdom movie, miniseries. I don't know. That would take my cake, okay? Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's very mid for me. Like, very 3 stars. I think I'm giving all of these books 3 stars because it's just like, congratulations, you know, like, you did your thing, you did your due, you did what you were supposed to do. But like, also, I hate the ending, and also the main character that we're supposed to be in love with from this whole time gets on my damn nerves. Which maybe it's supposed to be relatable because he also gets on Elena's nerves. It just could have been better. It just could have been better. And I really, really, really like that she did not forget about the Darkling. Elena is who I'm talking about, because like when he's dead and they burn his body and Elena's body, because remember, everyone thinks that the Sun Summoner died in the battle and everything, they like get burned together, which I thought was a little unbelievable. I felt like the people would not have wanted them to be burned together if this was like some sacred ritual where they burn a saint. Like, why would they also burn the Darkling? Like, he was the baddie of all baddies. But regardless, they did that. I like that she, you know, like when the Darkling died, she like kind of held his hand. He asked her to say his name to him again, because he wanted to hear it from her mouth. Like, he had been waiting a millennia for her, right? And then he could never get her because he was too far gone. He was too full of power. There's like a lot of good balance of power talk in here, and I like that. But it just, in the end, they really, I don't know, I feel cheated. I don't like the ending. I don't like that Mal never became, I don't know, like, he was just hateful and insecure and angry throughout all the books with her, but it wasn't enough to create good tension. It only served to make me frustrated, because then he went off and kissed other girls. Like, it would be different if he was just like, oh, I will never be able to be with her, so let me just pathetically serve her for the rest of my life, which is what we get to in the third book. Like, don't get me wrong, I know that that was the intention for the third book, but the fact that he literally kissed somebody else, and when they were younger was constantly hooking up with other girls, even though he says that he loved Elena from the start, but he was just like, no, but you were just my friend and I didn't want to ruin it, and that's fine. But then, like, don't be with other girls. Like, then just be pathetically alone until you can be with her. Like, that's my thing, okay? That's what I want to see. So whatever, I'm glad I read it. I'm so glad I know what it's about now. And I don't have anything else to say about it, so thank you so much for watching this video. I had fun reading it. I hope you had fun watching it. Pancake, you want to say goodbye? She's sleepy. You want to say bye? Say bye-bye. All right, bye, you guys. See you in my next video. Hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? Yeah, it's okay.